Everybody. Welcome to No It's Real Monologue, where I talk about whatever I want, and I don't know when to shut up, like ever. And hopefully, if this goes well, crossing my fingers, you can actually see me this time. So, hi. If you can't see me, and if shit hits the fan like it has the last two recordings, I'm so sorry. I'm really trying my best. But enough about me. I have a guest that wow, I wanted you to come on again for the longest time, and here we are. Riley's back. How are we doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm just dandy. I love how we're both like matching pinks.
I know. I was gonna point that out too. I guess it's the Mean Girls agenda, you
We didn't
know.
even plan that. It just happened. Which honestly, go us. I love women. So with that, you have already introduced yourself. So if you want to learn a little bit about Riley, go to episode 75 to get a little bit of an intro. But how's your week been? How's life? I haven't talked to you like kind of face to face in like a hot minute.
Yeah, life is good. Life is much different than when I was on the last episode. What episode number is this one?
This is episode 102.
Wow, that's crazy. So it's been a while.
I feel like I would have been a little bit further along if I didn't have a job that I work like 14 hours a day, 6 days a week at for like 5 months. I would have
Damn.
been way ahead of schedule by now, but hey,
Hey,
we're
that's all right.
on too.
Yeah. No, that's so cool though. But yeah, I've been good. Just been to this week has been a little bit more of a chill week, just working on some music stuff, chilling at home, and then I have some gigs this weekend and I had some gigs last weekend. That's usually how it goes. But yeah.
Well, how fun. Speaking of that, the last time that we did talk, maybe I should do a catch up of the week before I like get straight into it. Turns out little TMI. I went to the doctors and I got a yeast infection.
Literally, I just went to the urologist because I went to a different doctor like 3 times about similar issues, and they were like, "Here's some antibiotics," and I was like, "Hey, it's not working." But luckily, I found a urologist that, like, cured everything for me, and I owe her my whole life. So
Well, there you go. See, we love people that know how to fix things, I guess.
yes,
So
yes.
have fun. So yeah, we've both kind of been going through that a little bit, which, big row. But I'm glad we can provide a little bit of a distraction with a fun little interview or interview
Yes.
too. Have fun.
Yeah, for sure.
We just
I
want
was
to
just
get into
talking to my boyfriend about how there's such a stigma around, like having a UTI or having a yeast infection, and it's so painful and it's so common.
it. It
And
is.
like when you're like at work or something, like you don't want to, like you're just like running away because you're in pain and you don't want to tell your boss and like all your coworkers, like, oh, I have a UTI. Like that just feels so strange and TMI to tell someone, but like it shouldn't feel like that because we deal with it constantly.
Yeah, I've gotten to a point where like if I ever got a UTI at work or something was off at work, I'm literally just like, "Hey, brother, fucking something stinging, row," and
Yep.
like I'll just straight up tell them, like I don't care if they see me
No,
differently.
that's so valid.
Like I don't care.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah. But anyways, coming out of the subject of UTIs for a second, are you thinking we just want to just jump straight into the interview? Because I have some questions.
Sure, sure.
Perfect. So, as if people haven't caught on from like if you've listened to episode 75 and if you're listening to it now, Riley has made the transition to having her own small business, Shop Illusory, and you are now a musician that has
Mhm.
big goals and talent like no other. Oh my God. So,
Thank you.
no, yeah, no problem. I mean, hey, I'm a music major, or I was. Morgan, you're not in college anymore. I was a music major, and like just everything with music, I like geek out a lot. So like when I see someone with like the right technique and the right amount of talent, like my brain just goes like I don't know. But
Thanks.
I want to ask you first is what gravitates you towards music, and like what really motivated you to like pursue this path of your life?
Yeah, so, um, basically, I mean, the classic musician tale, I've been singing since I was very little. I grew up with, my dad plays piano and both my parents sing, and so we had a baby grand piano in my house growing up. I learned how to sing before I learned how to walk, like, it was very natural for me. So I've been singing and playing piano since very, very young, and it's always been something that I was super passionate about, but I guess I didn't ever really think that I had what it takes to, like, make the step and make it into my career and make it more than just a passion and a hobby, um, until, you know, I turned to my other passion for a while when running my business, in the fashion industry, and I kind of destroyed that passion by going too hard into the business side of things there, and, I don't know, I feel like the natural progression for me was just to really heavily turn back to writing and making music with my friends and making music by myself in my bedroom, and it just felt right. So now I'm just kind of bridging that gap and trying to find a balance of, like, not destroying another one of my passions by making money from it, but it's always tough, but I'm so much happier. I really could not be happier with what I'm doing right now, so it feels right.
Good. Good, good, good. I love that. And like I have like a similar story to you because even though I'm not pursuing music like on a level that you are, I also have been singing since I was like very, very little and have like been do 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 on like little keyboards for like as long as I can remember. And again, I studied it in college as well. So yeah, it definitely like makes me feel very like joyous when a lot of my talented friends just start to find success where they want to have success in. Like, if that makes any sense at all. My brain
Mhm.
isn't turned on yet, but just like, it just makes me so happy to see you like glowing and like seeing you like explore everything that you were like meant to. Like seriously, I've listened to Surface Level Love and I'm sitting here like I start like singing it like all over the house and I'm not even thinking about it now. And like it's just one of those songs where I show people and nobody has ever said like a bad thing about it. Like
Thank you. I
nobody
really
ever has.
appreciate that.
Like I've always heard really, really good things. So hopefully, if there's a couple of streams coming in, hopefully that's my doing. But
Yeah, no, I appreciate it so much. I'll take any stream I can get. It's so hard. That's like one thing that right now I'm just like, I have no idea how to get streams on my music, but I'm just releasing and hoping and praying. So,
honestly, and hey, you know what? I'll be your biggest fan if you want. I'll share your shit like everywhere if you want. Like
yes.
I'll be like a little groupie, but like it's just me, and
Thank
like
you.
it'll be a fun time. So another question that I wanted to ask is like, what helps you get the most creative and motivated when it comes to like writing, recording, producing all the works? Like when you're creating the art that you're creating, like what gets you in like the zone? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I feel like well, okay. I will bring up my boyfriend, Sean, because he will come up several times throughout this episode. Because we started off as duo partners making music together and we were best friends for a long time. And now we're dating, which is crazy. But, anyways, the reason why I'm bringing him up for this question is because he's one of the biggest people that inspires me so much. And um, he outside of gigging with me, he's in a bunch of bands and he's always writing and he's always recording and doing XYZ. He plays like every instrument under the sun and he's incredibly talented at all of them. It's actually like probably not fair to anybody and I don't understand how he exists, but whatever. But yeah, so being surrounded by musicians like Sean, like a lot of my other friends who are so talented, it just really inspires me. And I feel like every time that I write, especially recently, it's because, I'm scrolling on my TikTok and I'll see a video by one of my friends and it's just a song that they just sat down and wrote. And I'm like, oh, I could sit down right now and write a song and then I'll do that. And I wouldn't have had the inspiration otherwise if not for the community that I'm surrounded by that is constantly creating and constantly putting out amazing content and I just want to be a part of that and it's so cool to me. I don't
Like
know.
the energy is like contagious almost.
Exactly, exactly. And it's awesome because we all have such different styles. Like one of my friends is like an R&B singer, one of my friends is in a rock band. My boyfriend is in a lot of rock bands. It's like all of my friends aren't necessarily making the same type of music that I am, but like all together we just have like all these different genres, all these different styles, and I don't know, I just find that really really cool.
That's awesome. I love that. Speaking of like like finding like a creative team to kind of like bounce off of, what does your team like typically look like? Is it just like you and Sean being like the creative duo that we didn't know that we wanted but we actually needed? Or are there like more people that help make dreams come true? Or like what does that all look like for you?
So 92% of it is me and Sean, I would say. But now we're kind of working on expanding that. And for example, this weekend we're shooting a little like live music video for my next release, which is so exciting and I'm really, really looking forward to that. And so I'm having Sean play acoustic guitar and I wanted some electric guitar in the live video to just add some ambiance, like fill in some space, yada yada.
Yeah.
And luckily, Sean has a bunch of connections to really talented musicians, and he used to have another duo partner before doing duo gigs with me. And his name is Sam, and he plays guitar, and he's incredible. And so I'm having him in the video with me and Sean. And Sam also coincidentally is now a booking agent, and he books us our duo gigs now. So it's like this full circle kind of moment. And Sam is great, and yeah, and so for that song that we're shooting the live video for, we're not gonna have drums or bass or anything else in the video besides the guitars. But for the actual recording, now we're thinking like adding all these other instruments, just fleshing out the song, because we have, you know, the basic structure of the song done and recorded and all that. And I'm like, maybe I want some drums, maybe I want some bass. So now we're reaching out to more of our pals in the industry and saying, "Hey, do you want to play drums on this?" and hoping that people say yes. So that's pretty much how it goes.
Like having the video be more of like a live acoustic version and then having like the full out song just everywhere.
Yes.
Gotcha. I get so excited when I see that kind of stuff. I really do. Especially when like the like live version and then like the studio version are like on the same like app and stuff. And then I just get to listen to both of them and then I get to see like how the performances are portrayed like this way or portrayed like this way and just I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm really,
I'm like
really
sitting here
excited.
like ooh.
I happened to pick the hardest song to sing that I have ever written to do this live music video for. So hopefully I can sing it, but I think it'll be fine.
Again, I think you're a little too hard on yourself. I think you'll be amazing. Like, and I'm not shitting you. Like, you'll be amazing. You really will.
Thanks.
Yeah. What are speaking of like kind of like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sing this or like, oh, this is happening. What are like the big pros and cons of pursuing music on this level? Like pros and cons that you've noticed so far.
Yeah, there's a lot of pros. I mean, I don't know if I mentioned this in this video yet, but I'm also in a wedding band and I'm in this 11-piece wedding band. It's so many people and you know, there's always the risk of people that you work with in different bands and different groups whatever, like not really vibing with you or vice versa. And luckily in that band, like we it feels like family. They're all like men in their 60s and I'm obsessed with them and they're like all my father. And so that's a huge pro is just meeting people and forming like a connection with all these people that feels like family, and that's a huge pro. That's the biggest pro that comes to mind, just meeting people and meeting people that I wouldn't have met. You know what I mean? Like in any other way of life, I would not have crossed paths with these 60-year-old men that played the trombone. You know what I mean? Like so that's been really cool. And I don't know, just feeling like I'm creating things or like even at cover gigs when I'm not singing my original music, but I still feel like I'm creating and I'm sharing my gift with people that care to listen, and that feels really, really cool. And then cons, I would say, is the self-doubt. I feel like for me, I'm a perfectionist.
The imposter
Nothing
syndrome.
I do is ever perfect, so that's, a hard pill to swallow. That's probably one of the biggest cons is just the battle between like, "Oh, I feel really good. I feel like I nailed that performance," and then the next day trying to write a song on guitar, which I'm horrible at playing, and just wanting to shrivel up into a ball in the corner. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so there's a lot of pros, there's a lot of cons, but I feel like the pros definitely outweigh the cons for sure.
Absolutely. And like I think another thing that most people really don't like get to is like I totally got that. When you're like the self-doubt, the imposter syndrome. You're like, okay, is this really like something that I deserve to be doing? Like, am I actually
Right.
doing this? Like blah blah blah. And as you said, something really resonated with me when you were like, I want this to be perfect. I want this to be perfect. And I'm like, I don't think perfect actually kind of exists,
Right.
which I feel like a lot of us really just trip ourselves up over. Everyone deserve like thinks that they need to be like perfect or blah blah blah. And I mean, hell, like last month I was in like a depressive episode and I was just crying to my boyfriend and I was just like, I just want to be the perfect girlfriend. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, nobody's perfect. There's no such
Yeah.
thing as perfect. And like I feel like the quote unquote imperfections is what makes it perfect and unique in the first place.
Mhm.
So like I think one thing that has really helped me keep going, and I think that it can help a lot of people as well, there is no one that can do your life better than you. There is no one that can do your craft better than you personally do it because you have that unique little touch that makes it different from everybody else. And and you're pretty quote unquote perfect at that, if I do say so myself. So I don't know if that'll help any listeners at all, but that's helped me. And now I'm
Yeah.
coming out of that depressive episode. I'm like, oh my God, hi. I'm thinking rationally, hi.
Cannot relate, but
I mean, hey, we'll all get there eventually, but in the meantime, hopefully that inspires good content. Maybe.
yeah.
Is that like a cancelable thing to say? I have no idea. But while we're at it, this is me just geeking out about music. This next question. What genres of music do you like to sing? And like what do you like to create instrumentally? And like what do you gravitate towards listening to? Like, do you have any Irish? Wow, English. Do you have any artists that like inspire you? And of course the answer could be like, oh, I like singing folk music, but I really like synthetic pop to listen to or whatever. Like whatever
Yeah.
you're looking for.
So, all right, where do I begin? I mean, I must begin with Billy Joel. I don't know if I've talked about Billy Joel with you, but I have him tattooed on my arm. I have his lyrics tattooed all over my body. Like that man means more to me than anybody in the entire world, music wise. And yeah, I mean, hands down, my biggest inspiration ever, ever. And I feel like I get a lot of inspiration from the 70s and classic rock in general, like Fleetwood Mac in when I'm doing cover gigs or even with the wedding band, like I sing most of our Fleetwood Mac songs because that kind of like I don't even know what you would call that. It's
It definitely has a
like
whimsical element to it.
yeah, like for an upcoming wedding, we have a special request to sing Everywhere by Fleetwood Mac, and I am just so thrilled to get to sing that song, like, because it's classic rock, but I don't have a rock voice, like, I have well, I don't my voice isn't as deep as Stevie Nicks, but I have, like, a folksy kind of Stevie Nicks kind of voice, and I just feel like she was the blueprint for mixing like rock with softer vocals,
Yeah.
and I just really like that. But the music that I write is definitely more indie soft folk vibes, because that's just what my voice is best at, but I feel like there's nothing I love more than a piano ballad, and I've been really trying to get back into writing just like a solid piano ballad. Because I've been focusing more on like acoustic guitar, folksy stuff, but I really need a piano ballad on my next project because it just needs to happen. Um,
Have you listened to Pink by Leon, like the acoustic version that was like on The Village or something?
mm-mm.
When we get done with this podcast, and everybody else too, when you get done with this podcast, don't click off. But go to YouTube and look up Pink Leon, which is Leo with like a little dash over it, and Leon. And it's like the acoustic version that she does. And that solid piano ballad. Like if you're looking for any inspiration for anything like that, I have cried to that in the car numerous amounts of times in my life. So I would say if that's the goal that you're looking for, then definitely that one for sure. That's like the first person I thought of.
Nice. Yeah, that also reminds me, I'll throw out another recommendation for the listeners. The song One Last Chance by Maro, Maro. Incredible song. Maro is like one of the best artists I've ever seen live. She is a beautiful angel and she's perfect. Like, I know we said that perfect does not exist. She is perfect. Um, but I'm obsessed with everything that she does. And that song, it never fails. Like, I put that on and I'm like a wreck, but also like the happiest I've ever been at the same time. It does something to me. But anyways, yeah, One Last Chance by Morrow. Classic. So good.
Cool.
Um, yeah.
I might have to put that in what can Morgan I stop listening to, even for like later. Like, here's a bonus one. So on the last episode that you were on, you were telling me that you were in the process of making an EP and how you've already recorded a song for it. And I was wondering, like, as much as you are comfortable with giving, what is like the progress of it now? And do we have like a certain story that you're trying to tell or like a picture you're trying to paint with this album? Or is it just kind of like, hey, it's me? And you're just like experimenting like all different like versions of your musicality.
hmm So, um, yeah, so Surface Level Love is probably the song that I was referring to in when we last talked about the song that was being recorded, and that one is out if you guys want to stream it. But yeah, super proud of that song. But the next song that I'm going to release, it's called Lie to Me. I feel like I can give the track name on here. I feel like you guys will keep it a secret, but
Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
it's called Lie to Me, and it's one of I mean, okay, I mentioned earlier that I suck at guitar, but then I discovered open tunings, and that changed my life
Oh,
because I can just strum all of the strings and it plays a beautiful chord. Like, that's crazy. So I started messing around in Open D and I wrote this song pretty much from beginning to end without needing much of Sean's help, which is kind of crazy because I can write a song completely by myself on the piano, but guitar, I feel like I never really have the right chords that I'm hearing in my head to like piece the song together because I just don't know how to play them. But anyway, so I'm really, really proud of the next track that's coming out. Um, the lyrics I'm super, super proud of. The melody I'm really proud of. Like every piece of this song, it's like my child. Like that's why I'm doing the live video of it. I just want to put as much attention and focus on this track as possible. So the goal is, or the plan is to release it as a single and then release the live music video. And then I'll probably release like three more singles because I recently discovered that Spotify, the way that the algorithm works, it's much more beneficial for small artists to release songs one by one because if you release a whole project, you can only submit like one of those songs to be on like the release radar or whatever it's called. So you can't have like all of your songs be submitted for like those Spotify playlists, which I think is really stupid. But yeah, so it's called the waterfall effect or waterfall plan or something to release like a bunch of singles and then have your whole EP kind of come to fruition at the end of that. Um, but I have about 7, I think, songs in total to be released over who knows how long, but I'll be trucking away at that. But recording an album is so expensive, so we'll see when I get there.
Absolutely. And hey, I'll be cheering you on literally the entire way. Like you say the word, I'll be there. Um,
Thanks.
I'll be like front row every time with like a sign and everything. Um, so correct me if I'm wrong, but like, or just like enlighten me because like I've always wondered working as a musician, I've always wondered what like the day to day or like the day to week like life of a musician kind of looks like. So like with your experience so far, what is it like? Like what is your like
So
entail?
yeah, so, it definitely depends, like, month to month, or I guess season to season, because with being in the wedding band, we do other, like, events too besides weddings, so we had a couple of, like, events or, like, galas or whatever they were, over the past couple months throughout the winter, but we don't have many weddings in the winter, so not gigging as much with the band, which means, trying to gig as much as possible with Sean on those dates that I have available. So, but also a lot of like restaurants and bars and like venues and stuff, they're slower in the winter because I guess people aren't leaving their houses in the cold as much or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So getting gigs in the winter is just difficult in general, but December was actually a pretty solid month where we had between like band like events and cover gigs with Sean, I had like 2 or 3 gigs a weekend, and then I have rehearsals with the band every Wednesday night. And then since me and Sean are dating, we just rehearse whenever we feel like it, whenever I'm at his house. And then one Monday a month, I do showcases with the band, which is kind of just like it's not like a competition per se, but it's like 4 or 5 bands within my agency will all perform like a 30-minute medley of our like best like showstopper songs to an audience that's all like potential clients that we're trying to get to book us. So it's like a little bit of friendly competition between the bands and the agency, um, which I think is super fun, and like everyone's very nice to each other. It's not like we're, coming for each other's throats, but it's super cool. So we do that once a month on a random Monday, and that's always really fun because we do it at like a performance venue. So we're on like a big stage and there's all the lights, and the audience is super into it because they came there to see the bands, and a lot of them are getting married or throwing these giant parties, and they're super passionate about seeing the bands. So that's super fun. But yeah, and then in the summer, me and Sean have a residency playing down at the Delaware beaches in Dewey, Thursdays and Sundays. And then Fridays and Saturdays, I usually have weddings or other random gigs around Pennsylvania and Delaware with Sean. So that's pretty much the schedule. And then any free time I have, I'm always just writing and recording and working on all that stuff.
And like not to like kind of compare from like one to the other, but like I noticed like okay, so I was listening to episode 75 before having you on, and I also asked you on there like what your day to day looked like as there. And I could tell that you like liked to do it, but you were also like very overwhelmed with doing it, and you were just like, I would love to have a little bit of help. I would love to have a little bit of a break and stuff like that. But now listening to your day to day now, like it's still a jam packed, like back to back to back to back stuff. But you just seem like a lot more content with it, and you seem a lot more excited about it, and you
Yeah.
seem just really, honestly, like you just seem like happier, you know?
Oh yeah. The last time that I was on was probably like one of the lowest points in my life, or maybe it was like right before the lowest point in my entire life. I was just so beyond burnout and overwhelmed, because running a business that's completely your own is just crazy because you just don't know, like, no one teaches you how to balance work and life when you're working out of the same space that you're living in, first of all, and second of all, it's like every time I would open my phone, I would see all of these work messages and emails and, like, feel like I was obligated to respond to people whenever I saw the messages. It was never like, "Okay, I'm clocked in, I'm showing up for work, I'm, getting all my work done, and then I'm gonna go home and not think about work at all." There was not a time where I was not thinking about work for 3 years straight. Like, it was the most overwhelming experience that I have ever felt in my whole life. But now, even though I'm still working for myself, like, I show up to gigs, I play the gig, and then I go home and, I feel good about myself, and there's still work to be done while I'm home, practicing, warming up, recording, writing, whatever, but I can do that on my own time, and it's not like someone is waiting for me to fulfill something for them. Like, it's not like someone's like, "Where's this song? Like, you gotta write this song." Like, I don't answer to anyone. I'm just making music to make music, and it's way less overwhelming. I still get overwhelmed. I still get like anxious about it because I'm putting pressure on myself, but no one else is putting pressure on me.
Yeah.
So I'm much happier.
Yeah. I was gonna say I can tell, and like honestly, it's contagious a little bit. Like the energy of just like finally taking care of yourself and just finding a path that best suits you. That energy of just feeling relief is just contagious. It really is.
That's good.
With that, in the last episode, we talked about wanting to create more authentic content online, like really bearing our souls and making sure that few things don't feel rushed, but like right. And like as you said, like earlier in the episode, like things just feel a little bit more correct, like in your life. And I was wondering, like, do you feel like you're completing that mission with creating more authentic content and like being more honest with yourself now that your passion and focus is music rather than shop illusory?
Yes. Um, so the transition between posting online content, trying to grow a fashion brand, and now posting, trying to get people to interact with my music content has been quite crazy for me in my brain because they're just like completely different things. And I feel like I have a really good understanding of social media. I have a really good understanding of just creating on the internet, I guess. Um, but I didn't really realize that the only ways that I have done that are in the fashion world somehow. Like, I used to work as a social media manager for a clothing boutique, and obviously I ran my own business, and like every type of social media thing that I've done has been through a fashion related lens, which I still love doing. Like, I'll still post like my thrift hauls and, outfit videos and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
But
it's like switching
um,
things.
yeah, it's been kind of wild and mildly discouraging
Really?
making the switch to posting music content because fashion is, in my opinion, a much more like, I don't want to say like relatable subject, but it's just easier to appeal to the masses with fashion for some reason. And music just feels so much more personal because it's like, like I could post a thrift haul and be like, here are all the things that I'm collecting, like shop these things. And I just feel like it's much easier to just find a niche and stick to it and have a bunch of people that care about that thing. Whereas with music, like I'm posting covers and I want to make them as authentic as possible. So I'm only really covering songs that I love and that I'm passionate about. But the music that I listen to is not popular music. Like Billy Joel, for example, obviously very so many people listen to his music, technically very popular music, but it's not what's trending on TikTok. You know what I mean?
Or like what's like mainstream, like streaming on the radio or anything like that.
Right. Like, I just don't really listen to the things that I probably should cover to get, like, a viral video, but I'm like, I don't know, I've just been kind of thinking about that lately, and, like, if I do like, blow up on the internet for my music, I want it to be the most authentic version of myself, and I want it to be a song that I'm passionate about singing, and I don't wanna just record covers to record covers, like, just because I think that the song will do well, and I don't really care about the song, you know what I mean? I've just always been like that, and I have a lot of friends that are also in the music industry and posting covers all the time, and they'll take requests, and they'll learn new songs, and they'll, post like, they'll do their research on TikTok before recording covers and only record the things that are, like, the most popular or, like, that they think that people will interact with the most, and I do those things from time to time to a certain extent, but I don't know, just it's very important to me to post things that I'm proud of and that I'm passionate about and that I would want to watch,
Yeah.
even though they might not be the most popular videos, because something that's very important, in my opinion, to anyone that is trying to create an audience on the internet, no matter what your niche is or your category of content is, you have to not only attempt to appeal to the masses and draw people in, but once you have those people, even if you got 3 new followers today, you have to kind of make note of like, okay, these people followed me because of X, and what are they going to want to keep seeing from me? And those videos might not go viral and bring in a bunch of new people, but you're retaining that audience that you already have. And I feel like that's a super important piece, especially with music, because there's so many musicians and it's such a saturated like market, I guess, on the internet. There's so many musicians, and if someone doesn't feel like they're really resonating with what you post, they're just gonna look elsewhere. Like, I've definitely experienced following other musicians for one thing, and then as I'm following them, I'm just kind of realizing that they're only really posting for the virality of it all, and they just don't seem very genuine, and um, their music content isn't as like relatable and what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I guess just like casual and like intimate, I guess.
Yeah.
And when they just have like viral video after viral video of like pop song after pop song, it's like I don't really care to stick around, you know? And like that might appeal to a wider audience, but I don't know. Does this make sense?
Like even as you were saying, like what resonates most with your audience, what got you followers, and like how can you branch off of that? And like as you were talking about that aspect, I was thinking about how like on Instagram and TikTok, I've noticed that the things that really start to like trend the most for me is when it's not just like a fast trend, which I think my most viral video on TikTok is like kind of like a viral-ish trend that really didn't take much time. But the other two on there, like I fully edited the video and created the video and created like I was creative. And like one of the photos that I have on Instagram that's gotten the most likes so far is I tried to recreate like a poster for No Eternal Monologue, but like the same kind of poster that the 1975 posted. So for people who can, see this on YouTube and stuff, this is what the poster looks like that I took inspiration from. And then I ended up creating these two posters because of it. And they all got a lot of likes. And they're just like, whoa, what? So I'm like, okay. So the very like fast viral trends tend to just like get like more popular, but at the same time, like what really consistently shines is when I like put my authentic creativity into it. And like I totally get that too, where like if it's like this person covers like pop song after pop song after pop song after pop song. I get that because like it's a popular song and a lot of people know it, but they get to hear your spin on it, which is cool. But I still don't feel like it has the most authenticity when there's people out there that are really presenting their works, like original pieces, out into the world.
Yeah.
And like I tend to gravitate towards those most because I'm like, ooh, this is new. Ooh, this is different. I literally follow this TikTok account where he posts like small artists that are creating their music and they're like, hey, like this is music recommendations and blah blah blah. And like some of them are like more like smaller artists, but then other of them too are like independent, like, hey, I just wrote the song and I'm looking for streams and blah blah blah. So like if I find the account that I'm like thinking of, then like I'll tag them below. But yeah, like having that like just having that authentic creativity just come out and being so individualistic. Like, of course, it's a little bit rare because, like, now most days, like, we're living in 2024. Like, I really don't think there's such a thing as an original thought anymore. But there is such a thing as having sort of an unoriginal thought, but having your own creative spin on it that makes it like original, makes it unique, you know?
Right.
And
Yeah.
that lots of content I gravitate towards personally. Like,
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I feel like a lot of the musicians that I love following, like, even if all they post is covers, I like following the people where they're not just covering all the popular songs on TikTok that people are blowing up by covering. Like, I like to see their own music taste in what they're singing because that's just way cooler to me than just seeing the same songs over and over again. Even though, like what I think of right now is the fact that every single person on music TikTok is covering Linger by the Cranberries, myself included, because I just genuinely like that song. So I was like, all right, I'll hop on the bandwagon. And it's like my popular cover on my TikTok now, which of course it is because I'm playing into the trend. But yeah, I don't know. It's like kind of finding a balance between posting the viral stuff, the trend stuff, and putting your own spin on it, like you said. Like that can be cool, but then I feel like if that's all you're doing, it just gets old because that's all that everybody's doing and you want to stand out, but it's very difficult. It's very difficult. I've been struggling a lot with trying to figure out how, especially with TikTok, like I don't know, the most random things will get views. Like the other day before I went to bed, I just posted like a random snippet of me singing at a gig in like a crowded bar. The audio sounds like crap, but I just like wrote a silly little caption and I was like something about like singing pretty little love songs to like a room full of screaming 20 something year olds. Like that was the caption. And everyone was just like, yeah, that's so real. And I was like,
you're so
oh,
weird with
cool.
this.
And I like woke up and it was like doing numbers compared to my other videos and I was like, okay, like none of this is that serious. Like I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm just posting what I want to post and what I feel like people would be interested in seeing from me, and if if those videos do well, then they do well, and if they don't, then they don't. But something, if I'm posting and posting and posting, something is bound to go well eventually.
The right
That's
people
where
will find you. The
I
right people will definitely find you eventually.
hope so.
Sometimes it's a little bit of a waiting game, but like, and again, I'm caught in that waiting game myself. But again, like the right people will find you, and
Hmm.
the more connections you make too, there's also support. So like knowing you and your talent and your energy, you're gonna take off eventually. Like
Thanks.
I can already like picture like billboards having like your name and face on them, and like
Oh,
having
that's so nice.
name, like I'm already picturing it in my brain.
Thanks. I
Yeah.
really appreciate that
I
because
think
the imposter
you're
syndrome,
lucky.
like you said earlier, it's so real. Like, I don't know, especially because, like, yes, I've been singing my whole life, but I've only within the past year started actually taking myself seriously as a musician. And still, sometimes I'm just like, I don't know, like, I'm surrounded by all of my friends that are so talented, and I'm like, well, what the hell am I doing in this group of people? Like, but, I have to realize that I do deserve to do what I'm doing and what people are paying me to do. So, you know, it's it's fine, I guess.
It's totally fine. I feel that one of the last questions that I have is I know you talked about it a little bit earlier, but I kind of want to hear a little bit more in depth. you're able to find a better work-life balance now that you've made your pivot, correct? Like you're
Yeah.
okay. Good, 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 good. Because like again, when you have your own small business and you have your own creative endeavors, it's honestly like a little bit exhausting, like working for yourself, but also working basically 24/7. Because you can work whenever you want, but at the end of the day, it's also just like if you have like customers in demand, like you basically kind of have to be like in business mode, like 24/7, like on the clock all the time. And
Yeah.
that can be very aggressive and very exhausting mentally at times.
Yeah. It was, like I said, the worst time of my life. And like even before it got really bad, like I've struggled with anxiety and depression for a long time, and like that'll come and go in waves, but when you run your own business and you're all these people are relying on you and only you. I had a couple of assistants at one point, but most of the work was still on my shoulders, and it's just like, it would be one thing to wake up feeling super anxious, and then, you got to get yourself out of bed and go clock into your 9 to 5. Like that's one thing, but when you run your own business and you are the only person responsible for like making sure that you're getting X, Y, and Z done that you need to get done, it's like it just doesn't happen always. And then that makes things spiral even more, because then the next day when you're feeling better, you're even more overwhelmed by work. And it's just like it just piles and piles and piles. And it was just insane. So anyways, all that to say is that now I, having experienced all of that and all of the chaos of that, I'm very much prioritizing my mental health in the journey of working for myself in this other venture as being a musician. And to get a little real for a second, with a real example, the other day, me and Sean had planned to spend the whole Sunday shooting content together, and I spent the whole week making all these a list of all these ideas that we were going to shoot, and we were going to write this, and we were going to record this, and blah blah blah, and we were both really excited to do that. And then I woke up on that day on Sunday, and I just had a breakdown, and I didn't even really know why. It was like accumulation of a bunch of things, as it always is. But being in the position to just say, "You know what? I need this day to, like, maybe I can get a couple of productive things done, but I'm certainly not going to do my makeup, make myself look good, and sit in front of a camera all day like the plan was." You know what I mean? Like that was not in the cards for me. And I felt bad that was Sean's plan for the day too. But he just kind of sat me down and he was like, "Listen, like you're clearly struggling, and we are at the, what's the word I'm looking for? We have the privilege to not have to do these things today. Like, no one is waiting for videos from us. Like, we just want to do this so that we can, book more gigs, or, get more opportunities, have more to show for ourselves. Like, that's our personal choice. It's not like we have deadlines and we're not going to make money if we don't post these things or record these things that day. And going from running my business and needing to meet deadlines and owing all these things to all these people, to now like just owing things to myself, it's completely different. And I still get very overwhelmed and stressed at times because any job is stressful, but it's so vastly different, and I'm very very grateful for that. And just kind of knowing and recognizing when I'm in those moments that I need to just like take a step back and let myself rest and relax, like it's very important to do that. So,
Yes. And especially if we haven't learned anything as like a society over the last like few years, like if you just need a day when you're just like really struggling, like it's very important to prioritize you and your health first and take that day.
yeah.
And at the end of the day, like I mean, maybe this is a little bit of like a wow point, but like none of us really consented to being alive. Like nobody
Yeah,
has to be here. Like we're all just kind of born and we're like, okay, I guess I gotta pay taxes, I guess. So it's
dude,
like
taxes, I can't.
we
I
can't do
I
what
am
we
personally
do.
I'm not contributing this year. Sorry, not doing it. I can't think about it. Anyways.
No, literally, I just talked to my the person who helps me do my taxes, and I just talked to her about like no internal monologue stuff since like no internal monologue is now a sole proprietor entity, and now I don't have to just worry about personal taxes, but now I have to worry about no internal monologue taxes, which
Yeah.
yippee. But
Doing your taxes as, like, a small business owner or whatever it may be, when you're self-employed, it's a nightmare. Okay, everybody listening to this right now that has a normal job that, like, withholds your taxes for you and all of that jazz, please recognize how fortunate you are because I have not experienced true stress until tax season as a self-employed individual. I genuinely cannot think of something else that stresses me out more so than taxes. I'm so sorry. I just can't like I can't do it again. This is like the third or fourth time that I've had to do my taxes as a self-employed person. And like because I've also had little jobs here and there of like working for someone else. So I'm like half of my taxes are like fine and like for other people, half of my taxes are like I have to do everything by myself. And then I don't even know. I don't know. I can't do it.
I mean, hey, I'm really fortunate to have someone help me through it because, like, the same person that's helping me with my taxes is like also helping like me and my family with personal taxes and stuff. Because, like, I swear, if it was just up to me, I would end up like that one TikTok person that like accidentally did the taxes wrong and the return was like 500 grand or something like that, and then they're like, I think I fucked up. I think I fucked up. And then like all the comments are just like, oh, jail time for you. And they're like, oh my God, like I didn't mean it. And I was just like, oh my God, that's like my worst nightmare at a TikTok. Like, why would you show me that? But yeah, I
Literally.
did that.
I had an accountant at one point do my taxes for me, but that is just so much money to pay someone to it's like money that I have to pay someone to tell me how to pay my money. That makes no sense. So, luckily now my mom has just been helping me because my mom is a CFO, so she, like, understands how to do my taxes, but I don't even know, man. I certainly don't understand how to do it, and she texted me the other day and she was like, "Hey, I need your tax return from last year," and I was like, "I don't know what that is. I don't know where to find that for you. I really don't." Like,
I wish
no.
I could tell you, Mom, but like no, can't.
No. She's like, "I think that it'll save you money this year if I can just look at your tax return from last year and figure some stuff out." I'm like, "First of all, I don't know what you're talking about. Second, what is a write-off? Third, I don't know."
What
Like,
is right off?
so I just went in my email and searched tax return, and then I just sent her everything that I could find. And she
I
was
didn't
like,
think that.
"Okay."
I'm like, I
Like,
don't know what this looks like, but just in case this is it, here's everything in my inbox.
oh
Literally,
yeah.
like,
And
here you
it
go.
ended up working out for me, which I'm so grateful for, but wow, was I stressed in the
Like
meantime.
one email like slides in the mix on accident, and it's just like, "Hey, get 15% off at Dressing Lala," and then they're like,
Yeah.
"That's not what I need for Texas." But good
Yeah.
job.
Oh
I did
boy.
that once. Oh my God, never again. I accidentally sent like my mom like the wrong email, and it was just like, "Hey, like get 15% off in this sale," and I was like, I don't think mom is interested in that, but you
No,
know,
probably not, but
I'm sure she appreciates the accidental gesture. Um,
Mhm.
But before we wrap up, I have one last question for you. And I ask everybody this at the end of an interview. Do you have any advice for anyone out there with similar aspirations and visions as you?
Yeah. So, I'm still cracking up at the fact that we just went on a rant about taxes. Anyway,
It's no one's
so
gonna do that. It's bound to happen. Like,
I'm just clearly so passionate about the subject. Anyway, my advice to anyone, first and foremost, would be if you're doing anything creatively at all, is just to focus on your community, not only to like the people that you're posting to, your audience, I guess you would say, but also the people that are doing the same things as you. Because I think a lot of the times as creative people, we get kind of wrapped up in, trying to be the best of the best and comparing ourselves and whatever it may be. And I mean, speaking for myself, I don't want to speak for other people, but I'm not like a super jealous person or like comparing myself to people and getting jealous of other people like constantly, but I feel like inherently in human nature that is a thing that you're going to see people that are maybe they have a couple years on you in the industry and they're doing all these things that you want to do, and then you're going to feel kind of bad about yourself. And at least for me personally, I feel like a lot of the times that makes me not really want to be around that person or hang out with them or like pursue a friendship with them, because you kind of think that it's just going to make you feel worse about yourself. But in my experience, it's quite the opposite. And just surrounding yourself with these people that are doing what you want to do, or maybe some people in your community, like you have a couple years on them and they're just starting, and it's like you can all work together in all of these different ways, and I just find that so beautiful. Like there's a bunch of musicians in Philly that are doing the same things as me, and we're super close, and I'm super grateful for that. And like in the wedding band community, they're like, if one of my vocalist friends that's in another band gets sick and can't make a gig, like she's going to reach out to me because I'm a reliable friend, and I can step in and I can fill in for her, and then I'm getting gigs that way. You know what I mean? So it's like if you don't make these connections and you're not a genuine person and just being your genuine self, then you're not going to get as many opportunities. But also just the community is so important and so lovely to have, and I just can't imagine not having that. So yeah, that was just me rambling about make friends. It's so important and it's so difficult to do that sometimes, but lately that's been my like number one priority, is just like seeing other small music creators on TikTok and following them and commenting on all of their videos, like genuine comments, not just being like, "Oh, this is awesome. You should follow me too because I'm also a musician." It's like, "Shut up. No one wants to hear that." Like just comment your genuine thoughts, like comment on their artistry. Like that's how you make friends. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like not that there's anything wrong with pitching yourself, but that gets old. It's just kind of like focus on the actual friendships, and then the opportunities within the business will come.
Right.
Hopefully that makes sense. But
Right.
that's my
I think
opinion
that's
on
too, yeah. I noticed that, not to interrupt you, but like I have noticed a lot of the times that like online, you can pretty much tell who's there to be your friend and who is there because they want something from you.
Yes, exactly. Because there's people that, I'm mutual followers, whatever it's called, with on TikTok. And there's some people that like they'll comment on my lyrics in one video, and it's like such a nice, genuine comment. And they'll, comment on the melody that I wrote in another video. And then I'll do the same for them when I feel so inclined and I feel moved by their music and whatever, whatever. But then there's some people that just comment on my stuff and they're like, "Oh, how did you edit this? Oh, how did you do this? How did," and I'm like, "You can ask questions, but it gets to a certain point where I feel like you're only following me because you want something from me, because you want all these answers." And it's like at a certain point you just got to kind of figure it out, like I did, or like we all do. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
don't know. There's nothing wrong with asking questions, but you just got to go about it in a genuine way in order for it to not come across as like just trying to feed off of someone else in the same industry as you, and then just kind of leave them high and dry, cuz that's the vibe that I get from some people that follow me on TikTok, and they're just like, "Do you have any advice for this? How did you do that?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do, but I don't know, like you're going about it in the wrong way because you never actually like show that you care about my music or anything of the sorts." And
Right.
so like why would I want to help you? I don't feel like I have a friendship with you. You
Right.
know?
Whereas like I have a fear of doing that all the time. Like when I hit up people for small business of the week, it's genuinely because like I saw their content and I really like what I'm seeing. And I'm like, can I just talk about you on my show? Like, it's a free thing. Like, I just want to like talk about these small businesses because like everyone has like all of these different passions, and it's so cool. And I'm like, I just oh, and like I think I asked one creator a question like once because I was like, I really like it was another podcaster, and I was like, I really like the way that your set is set up, and I really like the camera quality. Everything looks so crisp, and like you're doing really well. Like I love that. And then I was just like, I'm just curious because I'm a little bit of a nerd. What kind of camera did you use? Because like the quality is like, and then I think that was like the one moment where I was like, oh my God, like, am I okay to ask that? I was so
No, I think
afraid.
I think there's definitely a way to go about it. Like, I don't want people to listen to this and be like, "Oh, she's gatekeeping being a musician." Like, no, like I answer everybody's questions if I get asked questions, but there's definitely different connotations behind the reasons why I feel like people are asking those questions. Like because I do it too. Like I'll like you said, like I'll comment on one of my favorite creators posts, and I will always first and foremost be like, wow, this is awesome. I really love what you're doing. Can I ask this question? You know, because there's nothing wrong with asking people questions, but I think also the difference is that some people expect an answer from you. It's like I experienced this within the fashion world too, where it's like everything that you post, like oftentimes people are just like, "Where's that shirt from?" And then if you don't answer within 2 minutes, they're like, "Oh, she's gatekeeping shirts. Oh, she sucks. She's not gonna tell us where any of her stuff is from because she doesn't want us to also, like, wear cool stuff." It's like, "No, first of all, I don't owe you any information. Second of all, you're not going about asking for the information in a nice way that makes me feel inclined to share anything with you." Like, I don't know. There's just
Number three, like, hey, 2 minutes. You can wait two
yeah,
minutes. Like, patience is of the essence. That okay, that sounded very hypocritical of me because I have hyperactive ADHD and I do have like a limited amount of patience, but I'm working on it. But like patience with people, you just gotta like if you're genuinely asking like this outfit is so cute, where's that sweater from? I would love to like take inspiration from your like wardrobe because your style is really cool. And then if they do give you an answer, great. And if they don't, then okay, they're just busy.
exactly, exactly. And they don't owe you anything. Even if you are being super nice and asking a question, like you're talking to someone that you don't know on the internet that doesn't know you and does not feel like they need to respond to anything. Like no one is owed a response and no one like I don't know. The internet is just such a place where like everybody has these high expectations of everybody else, and it's crazy. Like, it's actually insane. Or like people will comment on a video and request a song, and then if you don't play that song, then it's like, "Oh, you don't care about your followers." Like, what? Like I'm just creating my content how I want to create it. Like I'm not ignoring you. I don't know. It's just people definitely expect a lot
Yeah.
from anybody creating content on the internet.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. I'm under pressure. But yeah, totally feel that 100%. Thank you again for coming on. I appreciate you so much.
Thanks
Um,
for having me.
absolutely, not a problem.
Wait, I have a special friend.
Oh my gosh, yes, please. Baby,
This is Wanda.
little baby, you two can see Wanda. Hello. If Moscato or Noir or both comes in like comes by the door, then like I'll bring one of them in. But hopefully that happens before the end of the interview. But I can go into
Hates it. She hates it. Sorry.
no, you're good. That was adorable. Oh, we love Wanda. We stand. I think we can go into closing segments real quick. Shall
Sure.
we? So, what can Morgan not stop listening to? I would say would stick in my head, but spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the title of this podcast, I don't hear dick about shit in my head. I really don't. Um, but I think my song that I've been like kind of humming a lot to myself. So when I saw that Joni Mitchell performed at the Grammys this year, oh my God, I was in tears. I was in shambles. So it got
Me with Billy Joel.
yeah, no kidding. So I have been listening to both sides now, but like the live version where she just has a guitar and she just goes. I'm like, yeah. And it's such a cute little song. And now like I think the one thing that really like made me cry about it was the fact that it was just like, hey, she has lived life on both sides now. I'm like, oh, like, she has the young youth, like, what am I gonna do with myself? And then now she's like, I've done it. I'm like, oh my God. Like yeah, I was crying. Alex is like, what's wrong? And I'm just like, but you're Johnny Mitchell. And he's like, okay. So I would say that's like the song that I've been like diddying to for the last like couple of days. So how about you? What are some songs that you've been diddying to lately?
So lately, okay, I have this friend. Her name is Daphne, and she's incredible. She's an insanely talented musician. I met her a year ago, not a year yet, in September when I played my first ever original show at the Ladybug Music Festival in Milford, Delaware. But anyways, she played right after me, and immediately when I saw her, I was like, wow, she's the most talented person I've ever seen with my eyeballs in my life besides Billy Joel. And she just released a project called, I think it's called Where You Left Me. Yes. Um and every single song on there is a masterpiece. My favorite ones are Cannibal and Iris. They are so good. So good. I think she thinks I'm like, oh, well, I think I'm like too obsessed with her, but she's so sweet.
What was her name again?
Daphne Ekman.
Oh, perfect. And then Iris. I'm adding him to the playlist now, so yee. I'm excited to listen to him. I like listening to that playlist a lot, just like hearing other people's song recommendations, and I'm like, ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, honestly, with that, weekly obsessions. I would say for me, it's a little bit of two. One, I've just been obsessed with like creating new content lately and creating like graphics and TikToks and like coming up with all these different ideas. And it also allows me to like get dressed up a little bit too and like put on makeup finally. And it feels really good, especially after like the inevitable January depressive episode that I always go through every single year. Fuck January. But anyways, sorry, Capricorns and Aquariuses, but fuck January. But yeah, just getting in that creative space and like creating more and more and more, like it's honestly got me like really, really excited. And even at the end of the day, like I'm really excited to edit this because like it'll be the first time I have like audio and video that might actually fucking work this time. So I'm really excited about that. I honestly might go to a coffee shop and edit in there just to really like play into that, like, yeah, I'm a creative. I'm editing. I'm working. Let's go. And then I get
Can
to,
you hear Wanda making a ruckus right now?
I don't hear anything,
Okay, great.
which that makes me kind of, earlier, there were a little bit of distractions where Alex came back home on his lunch break and he was just grabbing paperwork and he like opened the door and I thought it was one of the cats. I was like, how did the cat open the fucking door? But then I just see him like, I'm grabbing paperwork. And I'm like, what? He's like, grab paperwork. I was like, just text. I was like, and he's like, so he texted me. He just goes, "Just getting paperwork. Sorry, love you." I was like, "Oh." But then as we were going into like the second recording session, you were talking about Shop Illusory and how it was like such an overwhelming experience. And then Noir, my little kitten, thought it was the perfect time to get her paw underneath the door and go like, meow, meow, meow. I'm like, shut up! Like you know what this is by now, cat. You know exactly what this is by now. And she's also like she's gonna be 4 months, 5 months here pretty soon. So, aw, we love that for her. Um,
Oh, the kitty.
but another weekly obsession that I have is since I was in a depressive episode, I've been going to BoJack Horseman content a lot more lately because, go figure. If you're not doing well, you go to BoJack Horseman. But I am on the Reddit page and I saw that there was someone that had like a bunch of like different essays about the show online, and I thought it was gonna be like I printed them out. But because I'm a nerd and I have a printer, so I'm using it. Uh,
And I have a printer, that's great.
yeah, I was like looking at these like essays and stuff, and I was just like, interesting. Is this like the type of essay that I originally like thought it was, like those video essays I see on episodes all the time? No, there's like I was looking at the credits and stuff, and there are like legitimate like studies by like different doctors and shit. And like most of them is like received a PhD, holds a PhD, teaches, PhD researcher, senior lecturer, visual anthropologist, PhD student, and I'm just like lecturer, postgraduate, like what? It's insane, and like all of these people have like so many like different like so many different accomplishments, and like they have so many different qualifications. But like the fact that it all came together to talk about my favorite show, I was just like what? Like it's insane. So I've been like looking at that and reading it as if it's my own personal Bible lately. So it's
Absolutely.
yeah, honestly, like I have three BoJack tattoos, so like it's kind of obvious. Some people can see now. I have one for Time Zero here. If you know, you know.
Oh,
I have
that looks
Jack's.
cool.
Oh, thank you. I really like that one. It was kind of
I
like
love that.
clock, arrow, go. And I just let the artist like kind of create it, and this is what they came up with. And I love it. I also have Bojack in the narcissist painting that he has in his office on my arm, which I think is really cool. And then on my knee, which I'm not gonna show you because you know public indecency is not a thing that I would like to attribute to my record. But I have a quote on my knee. It's just the view from halfway down. And like I'm pretty sure the view like up, like the people can see the view from, and then upside down text on the bottom halfway down. Kind of gives like an Ariana Grande sweetener era where like some of the text was upside down, some of it wasn't, and it's just all lowercase, and it's just like, okay, yeah, period. So that's what I have on my knee. And yeah, it's a really meaningful show to me. I thought about watching it, like rewatching it again, so I could have it in my brain for like the seventh time. Uh, but yeah, that's those are my two weekly obsessions lately. So what about you? What are you obsessed with lately?
I this is more than weekly, but the Wordle, the crossword, and the connections.
Ooh, yeah.
There's nothing I love more than waking up every day and doing at least those three things. Those are my daily things. But sometimes I will indulge in a Quirtle. Sometimes I'll indulge in a Semantle.
Ooh.
The options are endless. I love a word game. Um, and my other obsession is what was I gonna say? Oh, I was going to say that my I've been obsessed with like okay, let me let me show you. I have so much clothing, right? And like
Oh,
that closet too. And like of course I have so much clothing because I used to run a clothing business. But my obsession lately has been going through my closet and getting rid of everything that I own. And it's so lovely because I have really, really bad sensory issues. And so, even though there's pieces in my closet that I love so much, I will never wear them because I don't want to put them on my body. And, you know, you can only have so many things in your closet that you just want to stare at. So, I've been getting rid of them and it feels so good. It feels amazing and I'm obsessed with it.
and again, like if you're getting like rid of them, and if you're like selling them to people like online or something like that, then that's just like another little money thing on the side. Like
Exactly.
I'm waiting on a sweater from you. So like
Yes, I shipped it out 2 days ago, I think.
yes, and I've been like kind of like looking at the tracking number like ever since, and I'm like so excited because it's such a cute fucking sweater.
It's so
So I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, what is coming? Oh my god, and I'm like,
cute.
so then I can wear it in like an outfit or something, and then like post photos, and then be like, Riley did this up, like Riley did me. She did that.
It is such a sweater. I wore that so many times, but I don't know. I've since replaced her with other sweaters, and I'm just like, I love it so much, but not enough to keep it in my closet anymore. So I've been so ruthless about it. I'm so proud of myself.
Good, that's awesome. Some people just have to just purge their closet as if they're just getting rid of everything, and it just lifts a weight off their shoulders. Really,
Oh my god, yeah.
I need to do that with some of my closet. Huh. But I just did a job interview the other day, which would allow me to dress up a little bit more. So hopefully I can actually utilize those pieces of clothing. And if not, then, you know, done. Absolutely not. Get out of here. Uh,
Yep.
But yeah, speaking of like things that I don't want to get out of here, here is a small business of the week shout out. What pivot, Morgan? So the small business of the week is Dolly Designs, which funny enough, the owner is Samantha, and I actually used to work with her back when I was in college. And she is like one of the sweetest, like funniest people I've ever met. So I'm really excited to do the shout out for her. So Samantha got started with her small business back in May. And so it's almost been like a year now. And she's always wanted to create in some way, shape, or form. She started out by trying to make like stickers, kind of like what I've been doing lately, and doing like stuff with vinyl prints. So one day she just said, you know what? Why not? Like, let's give it a shot and dove headfirst in her craft. And her small business has already been super successful already, especially within like the community that she lives in now. Like she's getting a lot of traction. And I'm like, girl, period, get your bag. Um, and she and her husband are hoping to grow and expand the business sooner than they actually thought they would. So if you're interested in checking her out, she creates custom stickers, cups, tumblers, and jugs, and she also custom wraps her products as well. Sometimes she'll craft like different signs for different businesses around the area. And I've seen a couple of her work, and you'll see the graphic on my Instagram page, which I'll promote later. Go follow my Instagram. But But yeah, her craftsmanship is honestly unbelievable, and I'm really, really excited to uh, talk about her. So, hey, there's a lot of excitement within Dolly Designs, so you should definitely check out her Facebook page of the same name to keep yourself updated on what she has to offer. And if you did want me to spell that, it is Dahley space and then designs, like the word design with an S. You know English, maybe some of you. So yeah, definitely check that out. And while we're at it, you should definitely check me and Lauren out. So my official website is noeternalmonologue.com. My podcast merchandise collab I have with Scorpio Denim is on scorpiodenim.com. You can get t-shirts, crew necks, stickers, 8x10 prints. But if you're wanting some more unorthodox items, like for example, maybe this little pillow that I have in my office. If you want a pillow like this, or if you want like a phone case, clock, tapestry, whatever your little heart desires, go to society6.com/Scorpio Denim. You get to support me and them, Society 6, everybody wins. So yay. While I'm at it, I was featured in a magazine, disruptmagazine.com. The article is called No Internal Monologue is the hottest podcast you should be listening to right now, which, you're gonna make me blush. Stop, Disrupt Magazine. So go check that out. My podcast Instagram is no internal monologue underscore podcast. My TikTok is no internal monologue. Twitter or X, thanks Elon, is NOINT underscore monologue. My personal Instagram is KINDA underscore MORGANN. My personal TikTok is MORGAN underscore LEIGH99. I also have a Spotify playlist of what Kim Morgan I'm listening to, as I've alluded to the past like couple of times. So definitely go check that out. I'm on Spotify, I'm on Apple, I'm on YouTube now, so that'll be in the description as well. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have. Lauren, make yourself known to the world. Where can we find you?
My Instagram is Riley Lauren, Riley with two Y's. Riley is spelled Riley, not the other ways of spelling it. And then I have an Instagram with Sean, which is at Riley and Sean. And my TikTok, what even is my TikTok nowadays? I truly don't know.
Honestly,
My TikTok is Riley with two Y's dot Lauren. And you can find my music on Spotify under Riley Lauren.
well, there you go.
I think that's it.
Definitely stream Surface Level Love. I swear to God, if you don't, you're a fake fan. But but yeah, definitely check out Surface Level Love if you just want to appreciate music in its rawest form again. Just listen to that track. And while we're at it, thank you for listening to this so far and listening to the whole thing. I appreciate you. Here's a little gift. Do not forget to book an appointment. Wow, English is not my strong suit today, apparently. Book an appointment with Cosmo by Kenner, right? You with me so far? Tell her that No Internal Monologue, me, Morgan, hi, sent you her way. And get this, you'll get a 10% off referral discount if you do from one of the best cosmetologists around, especially if you're looking for color. She is a whiz with color. I just go in there with like some sort of vision and then I'm just like, go off. You do whatever you want. Like, I'll love it no matter what. Like, that's how much trust I have in her. So definitely go check her out. And with that, honestly, yeah. Any la- any last words?
No, I think that's everything. Thanks so much for having me on again. This was awesome.
Absolutely. No problem. I love like having like guests come back to the show and like getting to talk to them about it because like I feel like the first initial time that they come to the podcast, people get a little bit intimidated, which like if you've listened to my first episode, I was too. So like I totally,
Yeah,
but then we just get to break down the layer more and more and more and we just like get to have an honest, authentic conversation and we get to make some content while we're doing it. So how fun.
awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, everybody, for tuning in this week. Come back next week for some good old snazzy little content. Hopefully, if I can get it up as planned, because the universe has really been working against me lately. So hopefully, it works out. But with that, yeah, that should be the end of the episode. Um, Toodaloo, you freaking buckaroos.